Welcome to the LynnSanity, a podcast for the Running Hook Podcast Network.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the LynnSanity podcast, a part of the Running Hook Podcast Network. And before I get into this podcast, please don't be afraid to rate, review, and subscribe. When it comes to rating, reviewing, and subscribing, if you want to rate me a 5-star because you think I'm hot, go ahead. You want to review, you want to leave a comment, you want to say, you want to just leave a comment, you want to be like, hey, the LynnSanity, it's on fire this week. Please go ahead. There's plenty of things that you could do. There's plenty of ways you can watch it, plenty of ways you can listen to it. There's plenty to come. And so without further ado, let's get into the podcast. And that's what we're here to talk about. But we have to talk about the stuff that happened before the stuff that's happening kind of right now to give you guys an opinion of what we think. Obviously we knew the Suns swept the Nuggets, so that eliminated a series for us. But the Brooklyn and Milwaukee series, we did not talk about on LynnSanity just because, the series in Game 7 happened after our pod. So let's talk that first before we get into the new series. Zach, I want to start with yourself. There's been a lot of comments made by a particular person on this network, particularly on the record, suggesting that Brooklyn cannot be beat. Zach, I know you have plenty to say.
Well, first off, let me just say the Nets would have won if they were healthy. In fact, they would have steamrolled. Okay, they would have. But the fact of the matter is they were not healthy. You just want me to talk about the Bucks and the series in general?
I'll do that. Yeah, basically just give me in general thoughts here. I mean, after all, you and I didn't count the Bucks out, so I just feel like
we didn't.
Oh my gosh!
No, we didn't. We thought they had a chance on the third person in the Zoom. Look,
this is silly.
You know what? I'll just start off with a bombshell, and when I say it, you're gonna be like, "Whoa!" and then you're gonna think about it and be like, "Well, he's probably right."
Okay.
Greatest win in Bucks franchise history since Game 4 of the 71 Finals.
Oh my gosh. Sure.
Give me a bigger win.
I don't study Bucks history, Zach. I'll go with you on that.
Well, there isn't a lot of it.
Well, do you think the first conference finals that they had, right? They went 2 or 3 times. You think the first conference finals they had less impact than the one that they're going to have now?
I'm just talking individual victories.
Okay. Got you. Okay.
Healthy or not, you beat the team that everybody penciled in to win the title. And you saved your coach's ass along the way. Your best player threw off every narrative the haters were throwing at him. Your second best player,
right,
shut people up, of which is a member of our network, and we still haven't heard from him on the topic, J.D. Hall, and Drew Holiday.
Well, let me rephrase. He'll be on this week. We're looking at Wednesday afternoon. Check your podcast feeds on Thursday for JD's insight here, but continue that.
And Drew Holiday, who offensively wasn't what you want, but defensively brought it.
Yep.
And I just think, you can make a case this is Durant's best series of his career.
Sure.
He's still the top dog in the league. There's no doubt about it. This series shouldn't be held against him or James Harden, quite frankly. I mean, the Nets are an inch away from being in the Eastern Conference Finals. An inch, literally an inch. A toe. Yeah. So, Bryce, I have all caps in my notes here. Shove it on Milwaukee. Shove it on your Giannis hate. Let me give the listeners a little taste of what's going on, Caleb, because
sure,
we are zooming during Game 7 of Nets Bucks. Bryce doesn't come in the Zoom because he's terrified the Nets are going to lose. And
oh my gosh, okay.
Bryce throws out some bull that when the Nets are down 4 with less than a minute left, he's like, I'm not concerned. It's fine. No.
I wasn't. Ask my brother. I wasn't.
You're a liar.
I wasn't.
You're a liar.
I'm not lying.
Yeah, yes, you are. You're a liar. You're down 4 with under a minute left in a game 7.
Okay, I'm not. When Kevin Durant is on the other side, I don't fear anything.
Well,
I fear nothing.
I didn't have a dog in the fight, and I was, it was one of the most tense I've been just as a fan of the game.
Because you don't believe in Kevin Durant, that's why.
I never said that.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I don't care who's on the other team. If you're down 4 with less than a minute left.
No, that matters. That absolutely matters. You're telling me, dude, I know
you
Kevin
don't have
Durant
any
is going to
concern. You don't have any concern.
If Kevin Durant is on the other side, no, not at all.
Oh my God, you're down 4 in a game 7.
I wasn't concerned. I looked at my brother. I said, you know what? They're down. He's like, it's over. The game's over. I said, I don't know about that, man. I'm really not too concerned about this because I feel like Kevin Durant's going to come down and make shots. And what did he do? He made shots.
He did.
In fact, he almost ended their season.
No, you're going to try and push this narrative that I don't believe in Kevin Durant.
Yeah, because you don't.
No.
Because you don't. You're saying you were worried you didn't believe in Kevin Durant.
No, I'm not.
The best player in the league.
Yes, he is.
So you don't trust the best player in the league.
And I'll go on the record with this. He's the second best scorer of all time. Time.
Wait. Who being the first?
Behind Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Okay.
And he's the second best player that we have seen up to this point in our lives. Our generation.
He was incredible.
He was awesome. In fact, I would make the case this was the best series of his life. If Harden and Irving don't get hurt, they win the title. But Bryce, you're gonna sit there. Here's the most shameful part of it, Bryce, was you were shitting on Giannis Antetokounmpo, who was dominating the game in all facets. Maybe the best game he's ever played in his entire career, postseason or not. And you're like, he's got to guard Durant. First off, talk about disrespecting Durant. You're acting like he can guard Durant. Okay. Nobody can guard him.
No, I'm not. That's not disrespect. I'm just saying what I'm expecting out of an MVP is for that MVP to pick up the team's best player, and he did not do that. They are hiding him on defense. He was guarding Jeff Green. Jeff Green,
who was an important piece for the Nets all season.
He locked down Jeff Green. Thanks, Giannis. That's my MVP, the guy who can shut down Jeff Green.
Listen, Bud took a lot of heat this series, and rightfully so. But he didn't waste Giannis's energy by putting him on Durant because even Bud knows nobody can guard Durant.
Okay. But that's the narrative you want to go with.
Giannis, back-to-back MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, playing the best game of his life, and Bryce is over here saying guard Durant.
He should.
Whatever.
Why? Okay, we don't hate on Kawhi Leonard because he guards the best player. We didn't hate on Kobe because even though he wasn't the best defender in the world, he'd always pick up the best player. LeBron would pick up the best player at times.
You're going to hate on this game because he didn't pick up the best guy on defense?
Yes.
Meanwhile, dominating in every other facet of the game.
Yes. I want to see that out of the MVP. Fine.
They won, Bryce. They won the game.
All right, look, here's the deal.
They won the series.
Okay, if the Bucks make the finals, which I think we're all thinking they will, right?
Sure.
Who's he going to guard? He should guard the best player. If it's Devin Booker, it needs to be Devin Booker. If it's Kawhi Leonard or Paul George, it should be that guy. And if they lose the finals, I will come on here and I will absolutely obliterate Giannis for that.
Which is a joke.
It's not a joke. It is not a joke.
No, it's a joke. And here's my final 2 points. Number 1, James Caper and the referees were awful.
Oh, here we
go. Number two, speaking of winning the finals, Bryce, if Milwaukee wins the finals, it will be the first time since the Lakers in 2002 that the champ's best player doesn't have a reliable jump shot.
Are you trying to argue my point that you can't win a title with a big guy as your best player?
No, it's not what I said. Okay. I said Giannis's jump shot is, it's gotten better over the years. It's not reliable.
Sure.
Same thing with Shaq. He never had one. So that's my point.
Okay.
That's all I got.
What about you, Bryce? What's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Zach hit it on the nail on the head, right? I don't think Milwaukee wins the series if Brooklyn is entirely healthy.
No way.
Besides the point, I even think, in my opinion, I even think if Joe Harris plays even slightly better than he did in this series, that Brooklyn is in a position to win this game. I 100% believe that.
Yeah, I agree.
Joe Harris was a total letdown this series. After in the first round, he kind of balled out, and just nothing. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember during Game 7. I think there was a shot in overtime or maybe the fourth quarter. Wide open Joe Harris 3 from the wing. Wide open. Clanks. Wasn't anybody within 10 feet of him. Clanks. It was awful. Awful series for Joe Harris, who'd been solid for them down the stretch through all those injuries. But I mean, hey, I'll give credit where credit's due. Milwaukee fought their butts off. Everything looked grim. They blew the massive lead. Bud looked like he was already clearing out his office. I thought Rick Carlisle was already moving into the office. And they came back and won the series. Now, Giannis does what Giannis does, except guard the best players, which is, hey, neither here nor there. But I want to talk about Chris Middleton and how awesome he was during this season, this series.
Somebody has to.
He was awesome. I think he had one bad game, if I'm not mistaken. But the rest of the series, he was solid.
Some clutch buckets.
He was solid. Well, I've said it on the podcast before. I think Middleton is their best clutch player.
It is.
And I don't know that it's close. Maybe Holiday's come up with some clutch buckets when he needs to. I think he had one in Game 7 where he was like 3 of 18. And he hit a couple big buckets down the stretch that they really needed him to step up, because at that point, that trade was looking really bad. If he finished the game, 3 of 18, 3 of 20. Right. So,
yeah.
But Caleb, me and you were dead on the money with Kevin Durant.
Sure.
Like, this series was career legacy defining, and he almost pulled it off. To Zach's point earlier, an inch.
Right.
And I think that overtime period in Game 7, I think he was just tired. I saw a stat. I don't know if you guys saw it. Hey, Caleb, I'm going to steal a little bit of your thunder.
Go ahead.
Little trivia here. The last 3 games of the series, how many minutes was Kevin Durant on the bench?
Oh, sweet Jesus.
The last 3 games
I'll say
of the
4.
series. 4? Okay.
2.
Low. It was actually 8 minutes. 8 minutes in 3 games. So, I mean, the dude is dead tired. I mean, and you could tell in the overtime period, his shots were short. He had no leg strength left. And nobody was really helping him. Harden, the hamstring thing. And let me just say, I'm not holding this against Harden. You guys will be glad to know I'm not blaming Harden for any of this because of the hamstring. Now, if he was healthy and he played like that, I would be ripping him and telling you I told you so once again. But I'm not going to do that because that's not fair to James Harden. So I'll give him a pass for this one. Overall, great series. I enjoyed it. Yes, I picked the Nets to go to the finals. Unfortunately, I did not foresee Kyrie Irving and James Harden getting hurt during the series. But hey, Milwaukee, congratulations. I think you guys are going to go to the finals, in my honest opinion.
Oh, God. Zach, you didn't give it to him enough. Bryce, you literally.
You're going to belabor this.
No,
okay.
no, I'm not. No,
you dragged him through the mud.
Go ahead.
You dragged him. You basically disrespected anything that anyone else in the East can do against him. That's what you did.
No, I'm not, because they were getting obliterated.
Who was getting obliterated?
The Bucks were getting obliterated.
In what game?
What?
Not in this game, but earlier in the season, in the series when Kyrie was still healthy.
Sure. Giannis didn't have a single bad game in this series. Not a single bad game.
No, he did. I'm not saying Giannis had bad games.
I think he had one.
I didn't say that.
But I don't think it was anything. We had one. I had one game where I kind of thought it was a bad game, but he had good stats. I think when it comes to it, when I see this and I looked at this series, I mean, a couple things just come to mind, right? I mean, it's Zach. I mean, you already mentioned it. Obviously, the big 3 being healthy changes the entire momentum of the series. I also think that It's important to remember, as I've said multiple times, that you are not, teams like this right off the gate are not going to be at their best. It's the second year that normally elevates this team. If you think about it, you go to LeBron's teams, you go to, the Warriors, list goes on. The second year, there's always something better about the second year. Your chemistry gets better. You fix your needs more. You attack that more. I honestly think Milwaukee was under significant pressure to win the championship. I think Milwaukee, and compared to any team in the Eastern Conference, was under the most pressure to win the championship. I think I think out of every team left, Milwaukee is in the most pressure to win the championship. The way that I see the Bucks is, I don't know how much better of a window you got. Okay, you took advantage of it, and the props need to be had. There's no question. Somehow Mike Budenholzer redeemed himself after a stupid Brook Lopez turnover. The way that I see it is the way that I see this series, it's just, I think the perimeter players, there's been some conversations I've had with some people and I agree. It's like Middleton is the best perimeter player the Hawks have seen in the playoffs. He's the best perimeter player.
Yeah.
So he's getting his shot off the most. Ben Simmons can't take advantage of Trae Young because Ben Simmons is only going to post up on the block and be on the dunker spot. And while Seth Curry's coming off back screens looking for threes, while Chris Middleton's going to come up and hit you with the mid-range. He's going to hit you with all facets, all ranges of his game. You could make an argument that Drew Holiday creates his shot better than any guard that the Hawks have seen as well outside of Middleton. The way that I see it, I think Milwaukee came out in this series and they had terrific confidence the entire time. They didn't lose it. Honestly, in a game 7 for Giannis to airball 2 free throws, but then make the big free throws that he made, that's a lot. Because, by the way, we saw somebody that didn't want to shoot free throws. We saw somebody that wanted to pass up dunks last night. Recording this on a Monday night.
And those
we saw people like that
are embarrassing.
And the way that I see it is, I think Giannis has a chance to be the most dominant player left in the field. I think he showed it. I think he showed he was the most dominant player in this series. I thought Durant had a great series, but I thought Giannis was the most dominant player in this series. I thought Giannis was the most dominant. I think Durant was the best. I think Giannis was the most dominant. You couldn't stop Giannis when he got to 5 feet in. When he basically said the last 2 games he didn't want to shoot threes, he just became unstoppable, you guys. It didn't matter. Blake Griffin, I don't care. Jeff Green, I don't care. He just was on. And look, if he's going to play like this, they're going to go to the fight. They're going to go to the fight. It was
a joy to watch.
They're going to get a gentleman's sweep or they're going to sweep if Giannis continues this. He's on a mission, and I think he showed it. Now, transitioning from the Brooklyn side of it, obviously you want to win a championship. Bryce, you've been talking about this. You and I have liked this team, obviously. Everybody's liked this team. Their offensive firepower is good. But I think in the NBA, we just get a little too, we love the firepower at the top of the line. And sometimes we just tend to forget that the role players matter in championships. They just didn't have it from their role players. Joe Harris making a stupid amount of money, bricking shots like I'm building a house. Meanwhile, you got guys like you're just sitting there, just wait, where is this performance coming from? Blake with 6 fouls, inexcusable. I'm just saying, I think Brooklyn's role players just came up short. I think if they fix that next year, I think it's fair to say they're going to be the favorites.
I'm with it. I totally agree. Spencer Dinwiddie, who they didn't have all season, has already opted out of his contract. We'll see what happens there. But I think they make some signings in the offseason. Definitely they make some.
Well, let me ask you this, Zach. Next year, I'm not playing Mike James in a postseason series. If I'm Brooklyn, I'm not playing Tyler Johnson.
Shouldn't have played.
I'm not playing. You know what I'm saying? I think Brooklyn's just going to make better moves just along their depth, right? They're just going to sign guys because if it's not going to be hard to recruit guys when you can just sit there and be like, hey man, look, you're going to get 20 minutes a game for us and you're going to play with the 3 best offensive players in this generation. You want to come play with us?
I heard JJ Redick has already booked his plane ticket.
Look, I just think, honestly, that'd be a great fit. But that's the type of players that you can get, right, Zach? Like, you get players like that, and you're just right back in the thick of it. You're going to probably be the top team in the East, and clearly Philly's under reconstruction. And I think this is Milwaukee's best chance at a title.
Well, there's a guy in Golden State that wants out named Kelly Oubre. I don't know what the package is there. Maybe a Dinwiddie sign and trade, but that might be it. But he came to mind. I don't watch college basketball as much as you guys do, but
It's embarrassing.
I've been told this is a very deep draft, and the Nets have the 27th pick. So maybe they pick somebody up there. There's going to be this is not going to be the same team, and I think it's other than the top 3 dudes. You could see a serious overhaul, and with everybody. I think Harris will still be there. I think Claxton will still be there. Other than that,
Claxton should absolutely be there.
Yes. If you can get off Jared Allen.
Oh, go ahead, Zach.
if you can get off DeAndre, for God's sake,
please
get off.
Unplayable.
But here's the problem, though. You have to sit there and have a grown man conversation with this guy because he's come in and he's basically done nothing for you.
Nothing.
He's given you rotation minutes in the regular season. I can get rotation minutes from Alex Lynn. The fact is, I'm expecting more out of a DeAndre Jordan. I don't care that he's 32, 33.
Alex Lynn, Jesus.
I'm just saying, it's the truth, though, Zach. I should be expecting more.
It hurts.
And it's one of those things where you never would have expected that. But the unfortunate reality is DeAndre Jordan is just becoming unplayable. He's becoming useless. They have to be able to figure out something next year. They have to figure it out. I'm bringing back Jeff Green. Jeff Green's a free agent next year. I'm bringing
Daniel Tice
as soon as possible. That'd be a great fit. But I don't know if Chicago might throw him something. I'm not sure.
Well,
I just
Daniel Tice is a free agent.
Well, I know. I'm just thinking
Daniel
Chicago
Tice would be awesome there.
Let's not underestimate Chicago's ability to throw the bag.
Right.
I mean, let's just face it. You know, they're not going to be afraid to spend money on somebody horrible.
The
way that I see it, I think Milwaukee just needs to get a lot of credit for what they've done. I think Bryce needs to, it really need to understand Giannis's greatness overall.
No.
And the way that I see it, I think this is, it was a good series. It was a great series to watch. For all the people that said this was a sucky series, shut up. Because at the end of the day, this was physical basketball, and this is where it matters. Okay? You're not going to get 130-point games in the freaking playoffs when you get two teams like this who play. But you're not, though. And there's a lot of comments on that. And there's a lot of comments that are saying, like, well, the style of game wasn't good. Dude, it was good basketball. I mean, did you not have fun watching this series? I'm just saying.
I did. That Game 7 was thrilling.
It was so good.
And here's another guy who came to mind, a free agent to be.
Sure.
A guy we've been very high on. A guy the Bucks were not very high on. Torrey Craig to the Nets.
He'd be really good on them.
Get him on the cheap.
Yeah.
Maybe he's coming off a ring with the Suns, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to go get another one. Goes to the Nets.
Get another one. Go East.
Go East.
Yeah. Get revenge.
We love Torrey Craig here on this podcast.
Yeah, we do. We don't sit there and get wishy-washy. Anyhow, we'll do a transition into Suns and Clippers, which is the first Western Conference series that we got. And the Phoenix Suns somehow came out of this with the victory over the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, the key for me is, obviously Chris Paul is out for game 2, which begs you to wonder, like, can they get 2-0 on them? Because I think there's a little strategy going on here from the Clippers. If you guys wouldn't mind hearing me out here. I think the Clippers said, screw the first game, we're going hard for the second game. Because I think they let's just be honest, like DeMarcus Cousins, he had a great stretch, but then he got to a point where it's like unplayable. You can't rely on his offensive abilities at this point because he can't even jump over my freaking phone book. The way that I see it is that the Clippers look, when I look at this team, it's like I want to see a couple things.
Of course,
I want to see something though. In all seriousness, the Clippers to me, they got a horrible Morris game. Where you at, people on Morris? 3 for 11, 0 for 5 from 3. He was hideous. And then and I can't have that in a game like this. I need him because I don't have Kawhi. And then the fact is that I thought Zubac was the fourth best player in this game for the Clippers. I mean, Zubac, like guys, like Zach, I'm going to start with you. Like, I mean, I think the Clippers kind of threw the towel in game 1, but like, you got to see a big time game from game 2, right? Like, come on.
Well, it's a must win. It's a must win. I mean, I have in my notes, the Clippers have to go balls to the wall in game 2 because you got to steal one while Chris Paul's out. You have to, because I don't know if it's going to be game 3 or game 4 or whatever Sugar Daddy decides.
Good call out. Good call out.
Chris Paul will be back. And I have a theory on that
are
whole
you doing
protocol
this?
bullshit. I absolutely am. I'm going to save it for later. I don't even think it's a conspiracy. All right. It's just, I'll get to it later.
Oh, no.
I have in my notes also the trifecta of Beverly, Morris, Batum was absolutely awful. Awful. DeMarcus Cousins. You brought him up, Caleb. 11 points in 13 minutes. Would you like to know the Clippers plus minus in those minutes?
I don't know the answer, but go ahead.
Minus 11.
Wow.
Minus 11.
Bad.
And Jackson and George, 58 points combined. Everyone else, nothing. Nobody else was even in double figures, I don't think.
Can I say one thing?
Besides Cousins.
Can I say one thing real quick, Zach? Real quick.
Yeah.
So help me understand this, you guys. Just help me understand this. You have a guy who scored 39 points in a clinching game 7. And somehow, some way, you only gave him 4 shots. Really? Not to mention that he made every single one of his threes. I mean, guys.
Well, let me combat that a little bit.
It was going to be a cool off. I mean,
but let's not neglect the fact that Rudy Gobert, the defensive player of the year, how many years in a row now? 2? Or no, 1. No,
3 out of the last 4.
3 out of the last 4. Has no rotations on his own defense. And Terrence Mann was just in shoot around during the game and hit a lot of shots because Rudy Gobert can't move. Let's not neglect that fact. All props to Terrence Mann for dropping 39. 100%.
Are you saying DeAndre Ayton is better than Rudy Gobert?
Oh, it's not a question.
Say it.
It's not a question, Zach.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
Okay, but if
we've all been
3 of 3, if you're 3 of 3, you're obviously still getting something.
But the Suns have so many wings that they put out there. Like if Ty Lue is this great genius coach, he's like, I'm gonna go small on the Suns. Okay, go for it, man. We'll put Cam Johnson, Torrey Craig, Jay Crowder, Mikal Bridges, Devin Booker, and Ayton at you. And by the way, Ayton can move. He's not some unathletic big man that can't move. He can go out on the wing and guard somebody if he really has to on a switch.
Right.
So like this isn't the Utah Jazz that has like 2 dads over there and Rudy Gobert with Ingles and Bogdanovich. This is a totally different team. Bryce. We're talking about an athletic young team that is obviously has a fire in their belly to actually do something, and they have a coach that's not an idiot. So, like, this is a totally different series.
Oh, don't call Quinn Snyder an idiot.
No, I'm not saying that wasn't shade at Quinn Snyder at all.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying a competent coach who is very underrated and should have won Coach of the Year, which I think he did, right? He did.
No, Tibbs won.
Tibbs won, and then Monty won.
See,
Tibbs won. Hold up. Tibbs won the NBA Coach of the Year, but then Monty Williams won the award based off his peers. You know what I'm saying? His peers voted for Monty, but overall the media said Tom Thibodeau, coach.
You know, of course, Zach, and I'm going to go with Zach on this. Of course, the media votes Tom Thibodeau.
No, come on, don't get.
I'm not discounting what he did, but come on.
Oh,
Come on.
Let's get off of this.
Fits the profile with the media.
Fine, whatever. But I mean, I'm not going to defend, or I'm not going to hate on Ty Lue or the Clippers not getting Terrence Mann shots, because it's a totally different team.
Yeah.
We have to keep in perspective what Terrence Mann is. Terrence Mann is a good basketball player, but let's not say he's going to drop 20 points a game. He's just not.
He's the third best player on this Clipper roster.
Sure. Third best doesn't mean you automatically drop 20 points a game.
I'm just saying I need more than 4 shots.
Sure. If they can get him open shots.
When you're 3 of 3 from 3, I would think you would look to get him more shots. Now, Zach, I heard that there was potential mail being dropped into the podcast here.
Oh yeah, it actually refers to the series we were just talking about.
Oh, sure. Sorry.
The E series.
Sorry. I just saw a notification on my computer. I figured, oh, shoot, I got to get it in.
It actually just came across my desk, so I figured we'd get out of the way.
Sure.
From somebody named Eric in New Orleans.
Eric in New Orleans. Interesting.
Eric B from New Orleans.
Eric B.
Yes.
Oh. Sounds like a point guard name.
He says, "Hello, Caleb and Bryce. Big fan of the show and the network here. Writing in from the Big Easy.
I love the Big Easy.
Things aren't going well with our hometown team here. I think Zion has a I don't want to be here draft ready to go in Twitter.
Oh, no.
Can't say I was a massive fan of the Bledsoe Drew deal.
Oh, that's sad to hear.
Sure.
I personally thought Bledsoe's shortcomings in the playoffs were way overblown and that he rightfully deserved that contract, but that's just me.
Oh.
There's no way it takes 7 games to win that series if I mean Bledsoe is in there.
Oh, did he scribble that out? Scribble that part out?
He scribbled it out, typo. Just some food for thought. Anyway, I got to get back. Really busy right now packing my bags. Not sure where I'm moving to yet. My gut says Orlando. Also, Rozier sucks. Sincerely, Eric.
Oh, Eric, I appreciate the fan mail.
Thinks he's moving to Orlando. Why would he do that?
Hey, you never know with a guy like that. You never know. He could get moved. You never know.
You know, Zion, I have to tell Zion face to face, or I'm going to call him out here. Hey, Zion, if you need help with that tweet, I think one of your teammates might be able to help you with it. He seemed to be pretty knowledgeable. It was a pretty simple tweet. I got to say, I think you can figure it out on your own. But if you need help, I think somebody can help you there.
Okay, we won't get too far. I will say, let's dive into this a little more though. Game 1, Zach, what did you see? What? Yeah. What did you see in this game? What did you look for? I mean, Suns only won by 6. If you look at the scoreboard, you might say to yourself, "This was a really tight game," which in a way it was. It was good basketball, but it just seemed like the Suns had a punch to them, right?
They definitely had a punch. I mean, Aiden continues just dominating, proving everyone on this pod right. Can't say the same for other pods. 20 points, 9 rebounds. Babied Zubac up and down the floor, shaking a rattle in his face. Ask him to grab it. Devin Booker, what a time for his first career triple-double. I was shocked when I heard that. First career triple-double.
Sure.
Game 1 of the West Finals. How about that?
Sure.
40-piece. More than made up for the CP3 playmaking. Not the impact of CP3, but the playmaking aspect. He made up for it. Just a PSA. So all NBA teams, really, quit doubling Devin Booker. We have 2 rounds of evidence that he will make you pay.
Yeah, he can pass. He can pass, guys.
He can't pass. He
Just
can't
so
pass.
You know.
Yeah, he can't pass.
So, I mean, Bryce, you're talking about the wings. 6 out of the 9 Suns that played scored double figures. Bridges, Caleb, I think you were too hesitant. Bridges is locked in as a top 50 guy. Locked in.
Sure.
Maybe put him even higher.
Sure. I get it.
But he's in there for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, his box score won't say it, but if you watch the game, you're like, this guy, the Sixers traded this guy? Like, they could have used him against the Hawks in Game 7.
Yeah.
Paul George. Bryce, I think you might agree with this. most dangerous he's been in an extended playoff stretch.
It's about time.
Since 13 and 14 with us.
It's about time.
I would absolutely agree.
He's been borderline dominant.
Yeah.
On both sides.
I agree.
And I don't know if I'd call this nuclear, but I have a take on Devin Booker.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Devin Booker is a top 10 offensive player of the past decade.
The decade.
And listen,
we're a year into the decade. We're a year into the decade. Come on.
No, I mean the last 10 years. I don't mean this decade. I mean the last 10 years. And here, I did some deep research on this because I wanted to make sure he was top 10.
I'm about to say, yeah, you're going to have to give some research here.
So here were my top 10 in no order. Okay. Durant.
Yeah.
LeBron.
Yeah.
Steph.
Yeah.
Harden.
Okay.
Carmelo. Kyrie. Jokic. Lillard. Kawhi. And then I have Booker.
Booker right at 10, huh?
I mean,
I feel like there's somebody else. I feel like there is somebody else, though. I really do.
Let me read you the stats.
Go ahead.
Since year 2 for Devin Booker. 25.2 points a game. 5.1 assists. 46, 35, 87 shooting splits. Can score from anywhere 30 feet and in. Can beat double teams on a consistent basis. Elite from 3-point. Can post up smaller guards. And is an elite playmaker at this point.
Okay. So I've caught a lot of heat on the network for this.
Okay.
Who's the 10th guy?
Well, hold on. Because I want you to defend. I want both of you guys to defend this because you guys have attacked me on this subject. So I want you to defend it. What about Russell Westbrook?
He can't score in the variety of ways Devin Booker can. Like Russell Westbrook's not scoring.
I agree with that.
Okay, but if you want to put it on, but if you want statistical data, the guy's averaging a triple double.
It's a mix of stats.
And you guys put a lot of stock into that.
My list was based on stats and just eye tests. Like the last things I said, can double teams, can score from 30 feet in, can post up. You know, Russell Westbrook used
what
to be
about
able to score
Kyrie?
In the post.
He said Kyrie. He put Kyrie in there.
Okay, sorry.
I'm telling you, I think everyone's accounted for. Beal came to mind, but I don't think
I was going to say him. I was going to say him. I think he's for me that'd be a guy. But I don't think you're crazy. Well, here's the it leads to a bigger conversation, right? The conversation of his offensive dominance, Zach, which is a good topic to get into because I think right now, as a scorer, you could argue that he has the best. So I heard I heard different pods talk about this, and I think it's a really good point. Devin Booker's bag of tricks when scoring is like top 5.
Top 3.
Top 3, top 5?
Not top 3, top 5.
Like, if you think about it, like, I think the score, I think it's not crazy. I personally want to see, just give me one more year. I'm not saying that he isn't there. Just give me one more year because I would lean towards Beal, especially but I think Booker is, in the mid-range elbows, he got that from his tutor, Christopher Paul. He got it from his tutor. Like when he gets to his spots, I think better than he might be top 4 at getting to his spots. Like he's really good at getting to his spots, even if they throw doubles or whatever. I think it's not a bad take. I personally would just lean towards Beal by the slightest.
And I looked very hard at Kobe Bryant, but his last great season was 12-13.
Sure.
And then basically nothing after that.
Well,
Nothing after that.
So you talk about Devin Booker and his variety of ways to score, right? Let me throw this at you. Just so I don't think it's not really a take. It's not a take at all. It's just more of a fact at this point. I was talking to my brother during the game. We were watching Booker go on. He went on like a 7-0 run by himself during game 1. And all of it was mid-range. He hit an and one mid-range, so that gave him 7 points in total for that run. And I told my brother, I said, look, the elite players, the elite scorers of the NBA, a majority of them have an incredible mid-range. And they're able to score everywhere, right? But we see so much in the NBA, it's either a 3 or we're going to get to the basket. We don't see a whole lot of mid-range. Now, I'll tell you who's got solid mid-range and they're elite scorers. Kevin Durant being one. Devin Booker, elite scorer. Now, let me switch this on you. We would be talking more about DeMar DeRozan if he could consistently shoot threes.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
His mid-range is off the charts, but for whatever reason, he just hasn't been a consistent three-point shooter his entire career. And I think if he solved that, it takes him to a whole nother level, and he's on a contender today.
I agree.
Right.
Absolutely today. I mean, LeBron has a mid-range.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the elite players have a mid-range, and that's what sets them apart. Kobe had an amazing mid-range. Jordan, amazing mid-range. Now, that was obviously a different era. Dirk, mid-range.
Garnett.
Yeah. If David West. I mean, my goodness.
Let's not. Okay,
Lethal.
come on. Let's not throw him in a.
Well, I get what he's saying, though. I mean,
Yeah, I do too.
So,
And
I mean, you got to have a mid-range if you want to be an elite scorer.
yeah. And here's
I
two
agree.
other guys I considered putting in there. Kevin Love, just because he was so dominant in Minnesota. Just because he was so dominant.
Okay.
Didn't lead to a lot of wins, but eye test and stat wise, he passed.
Sure.
And then LaMarcus Aldridge. But I didn't. LaMarcus Aldridge, I'd be willing to bet averaged under 4 assists for his career.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
The total package wasn't there like some of these other guys.
No. I think it's not out there. It's not insanely crazy. A good argument for it. I think for him, he just has to continue to be what, I mean, this pod has clearly thought he has been. He just needs to, because I just don't think the Clippers have any answers.
He is planting his flag right now.
It's
And
on the elbows.
I don't even know what to compare to the past 5 years.
Not with somebody this young, right?
Steph Curry, maybe the closest in 2015. Just planting his flag and being like, we are a force to be reckoned with now. I am a force to be reckoned with.
Well, you could argue there's multiple guys that do that.
Don't compare him to Kobe Bryant, though. That's stupid.
No.
There's multiple guys that are doing it right now, though. I'd argue. Zach and Trae Young's doing it right now. Like, I think the way that we're seeing Booker, play offensively is remarkable. But as you mentioned, let's talk about his teammates and then, break down the Clippers aspect of it as well. So Devin Booker, obviously he had double-digit assists. He had the triple-double. Chris Paul out, which begs you to wonder, okay, well, Phoenix, where are you getting the other productions? Where are you getting the other things that this team desperately needs to get by the Clippers? Well, folks, I'm just sorry to tell you that they're getting the type of production needed from their best 7 players, right? Like,
Just like they have been all playoffs.
best 7 players. Like, I mean, folks, I this is the best top 7 left in the league. This is the best top 7 left in the league. I mean, I don't think it's close. I mean, I think the Clippers don't have a better 7. I don't think the Bucks have a better 7, and I don't really think the Hawks have a better 7. That honestly, I might have the Hawks second. Look, the way I see it is like I think this is just it. You can't. Chris Paul is a great player, right? But this is to me when you have to give the respect to Monty. If we're going to kiss Chris Paul like we did last week, we need to sit there and say Monty Williams gets his guys ready. Everybody wants to talk about Ty Lue getting his guys ready. Well, what about Monty Williams? What about Monty Williams? Monty Williams has done it all seasons. Monty Williams has gotten a guy like Torrey Craig, who was in and out of the rotation against the Lakers, to become a healthy, legitimate factor. Cam Johnson, not ideal from three as you once. What did he do? Come out and knock down threes at home. Cameron Payne, I've been hating his guts, but I've been wrong. I've been wrong in the playoffs. Cameron Payne, 9 assists. I just think this has been a really great thing. Now, meanwhile, for the Clippers' perspective, I agree with you, Zach. I think this is the most dominant George has looked. And I think because of how he's performing, I think it at least gets you a win, maybe two. I think he's just fantastic. He's absolutely fantastic. He's really showing. I think what he's doing, Bryce, I'd like to hear your takes on this. Obviously, you've been a big Paul George guy for a while back in Indy, but then you hated his guts, and all of a sudden you've had to see him basically make you suck it. George has had a fantastic playoffs. What are you seeing from him? What are you seeing from this Clipper team? Particularly, because I think you're going to see a better game from them. But can they keep going small? Like, is that going to be the way they beat the Phoenix Suns if they want to go to the championship?
No, I don't think it is, because like I mentioned earlier, like the Suns are so young and they have so many wings that can come in and just play just straight up. Like, I don't think that's the way to go. And I'm not sure. I know how they beat him. I know how they beat the Suns. Kawhi comes back and he does Kawhi things. That's it.
But I guess here's my thing, you guys. Here's my thing. I'm not saying that Kawhi Leonard can't come back and do his thing. But right now, we have to go off the facts. I mean, the facts suggest Kawhi Leonard is not doing well, and he's not going to play. That's what the facts say. That's what the facts say. People are trying to make these what-if games. It's like, I can get to the what-if games, and we'll obviously talk about it if Kawhi's supposed to come back. But based off what I'm seeing right now, I think Paul George will continue to put up 30, 40-point games. You have to ask for better play from Marcus Morris. I need more threes from Batum. Patrick Beverley can't just make a layup and fast break. He has to do more than 2 points. And Luke Kennard needs to act like he gets paid $60 million. Next up, I got the Hawks and the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals, which we haven't talked Atlanta because we never got a series from Atlanta. Atlanta, an exciting young team. Just to give you a summary of what's been going on, they originally had a coach by the name of Lloyd Pierce, which Zach Griffith has ripped on many times on my podcast, the Southeast Divisional Pod. And Lloyd Pierce was there for less than half the year. They were 11th place, and he basically got the sack. He got the sack. He rushed about.
Got the Doug Marone treatment.
He just rushed about. It wasn't good. But he is coaching the U.S. and Olympic team, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But McMillan is back. McMillan has been, the guy for them. He's been steadying the ship, and the Hawks, a team that just, came out and have played their best ball. Really, they've been on a hot streak. This is a young team that absolutely shows no fear. And if you watch the Philadelphia series, you would easily say Trae Young looked like the most mentally ready player in the freaking series. Now, Zach, I want to start with you here on the Atlanta Hawks. I just want to kind of deep dive into them, and then obviously talk about the Bucks and how they approach this series. So, how do you look at it from the Hawks' perspective? Obviously, we know what Trae Young can bring. We know what Herter did in Game 7 that pissed you off. We know what Bogdanovich did. We know what Collins can do, as we've talked about multiple times, and Clint Capella. But can they get enough to get to the NBA Finals, in your personal opinion?
They'll make it interesting. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say they can't win, because they proved everybody wrong all playoffs and all second half of the season. Look, I think they got a lucky draw in the first round getting the Knicks, just because it was a great matchup for them. I mean, I'm still mystified as to why Tibbs didn't just hunt for Trae on defense, but
I agree.
Whatever.
I agree.
I don't know. He thought it was 2011 or something, but they can definitely. They can win the series. I'll say it. They can win the series. I'm not picking them. I'm picking the Bucks. I'll pick the Bucks in 6, just because
That's
well, I mean, who are you gonna put on Giannis? Capella.
Right.
You know, I mean, what?
which I really don't want to do that because if I get him in foul trouble,
This is where you miss DeAndre Hunter.
It's and I thought that would have been exposed last round, and it wasn't, and that's an indictment on the Sixers. But their offensive firepower, I would say, second only to the Suns in terms of the teams that are left.
I don't know. They offensively, in terms of putting the ball in the hole, Zach, I think they got a strong argument for the best.
Because, I mean, John Collins has been awesome. He's been absolutely awesome. Trae Young, maybe the story of the playoffs, you can make a case.
He is. I agree.
You could make the case.
Yep.
And they're going up against, I would say, an overwhelming favorite in the Bucks. I think I don't know if anybody outside of Atlanta is picking the Bucks or picking the Hawks. So it's going to be a great series. Herter made me eat shit. I've never said it on the record, but I fucking hate Kevin Herter. I just hate him. It's his face.
Yeah,
I'm just going to be honest. It's his face. It's his face. There's nothing about his game. It's just his face. Literally had the greatest game of his life. If he just has an average Kevin Herter game, the Hawks are packing. They're going home. And they needed it because Trae, he didn't suck, but shooting-wise, he sucked. He did not have a good shooting night.
No.
His passing bailed them out in more ways than one. I mean, hitting Herter or not Gallo because Gallo sucked, but hitting Herter and I'm blanking on the other wing. Bogdanovich. Hitting them in the corners, hitting Collins on lobs, hitting Capella and pick and rolls. He just picked the Sixers apart on defense. So they can definitely win the series. Like I said, I'm still picking the Bucks just because, Caleb, you mentioned earlier, Middleton is the best perimeter player that the Hawks have seen so far. And Giannis is just going to wreak havoc on anyone they throw at him. So props to Nate McMillan. We miss you in Indy. You got a raw shake. It wasn't fair. You didn't have a healthy team for 2 straight seasons, and they gave you the sack. So we did not approve of that in the moment, but whatever. But give me Bucks in 6, but it's going to be more than frisky.
So, Bryce, what are your initial thoughts of this series? Right. You clearly never believed in Philly. Not a lot of the people know that, particularly on the record.
Yeah, and you guys need to eat it. You need to eat it on Philly. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You need to eat it on Philly because I was right. I
you
was
didn't pick
right.
the Hawks over Philly.
I was right.
You didn't pick the Hawks over Philly.
Sure, fine. But you were like, oh, Philly actually has a real chance to go to the finals. But no, what did I say? What did I say?
Number 1 seed.
What did I say? What did I say? Philly
average
and the finals don't belong in the same
No, talk about the Hawks. Talk about the Hawks.
Period.
Talk about the Hawks.
I'll talk about the Hawks.
Go ahead.
Absolutely demolished the Sixers.
They clearly didn't. It went to 7 games.
This number one. No, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
Embarrassing. It went to 7 games.
It's embarrassing. Yes, it's embarrassing for Philly.
Okay.
Absolutely, it is.
No, it's not.
I agree.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. As much as you guys hate Bogdanovich and you hate Gallinari,
I don't hate Bogdanovich.
They made you eat it.
The one who hates Bogdanovich is the host of this show.
You're right.
Bogdanovich,
but all of you guys need to eat it. And Zach is eating it on Herter, and they beat Philly, who you said was an actual contender, and it's a joke. You've been exposed. Ben Simmons, the newest member of the Shanghai Sharks, according to Wikipedia, exposed. And I love to see it.
Well, Gallinari will be joining him soon.
Sure. That's probably after this series, but that's fine. That's neither here nor there.
Guangdong flying
The
Tigers.
fact of the matter is that the Hawks are way ahead of schedule in their development and where their team should be. They're in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Sucks they don't have a lot of ways to get insanely better because you pay Bogdanovich and Gallinari.
All right, yeah. Again, neither here nor there, but they're also missing some guys. You know, we still haven't seen a healthy Cam Reddish. We haven't seen a healthy DeAndre Hunter in these playoff moments to help pick up that slack. Yeah. So it's going to be really exciting to see him next season. The problem is
done.
Stop it. Stop. He'll go to the Shanghai. He'll join Ben Simmons in China.
He's hurt. Get off his back.
But I mean, this is cool. Like I'm fine with this. And Trae Young embracing the villain role is kind of fun. It's kind of fun. You know, I don't know that we've seen a young guy kind of embrace that role before of being the bad guy. I mean, and I don't mean just, oh, he's good, everybody hates him. No, I mean, he's kind of, you know, he walks the walk, he talks the talk, and he backs it all up with his play. So I love it. I don't know how much of a chance they stand against the Bucks. I'm going to take Bucks in 5. But the Hawks are fun. I like watching Trae Young play. I think the Hawks are fun.
I think the Hawks are fun. And you know what?
And Caleb, you've had to apologize to Trae Young.
They're serious.
And you know what? I did. I apologized to him a long time ago. Don't bring it up now.
You did? No, right? I'm not.
I'm just saying, like, I don't need to get the hate in the playoffs. Okay, let me enjoy it. Look, you know, the way I see it, you know, the firepower's there. They got a lot of guys that I can trust. I think the Hawks are going to the finals, boys. Give me the Hawks in 6.
Oh.
I mean, listen, I just sat here and said, give me the series.
Give me the Hawks in 6. I don't care that I'm the only person that's going to say that. I don't care.
Oh.
I am not doubting the Hawks. I'm just not. The Bucks have given me the Bucks have given me reasons to doubt him. Atlanta, despite Trae Young, even with bad shooting, somehow continues to look like they're the most confident team on the floor. Every series and every game. I don't think that changes just because they make the Eastern Conference Finals. Not to mention the fact that I like the experience this team has. I think Clint Capella has been in big games. Lou Williams has been in big games.
Oh, yeah.
Danilo Gallinari has been in big games, and I don't like it, but Danilo Gallinari has been in big games before. Okay, Trae Young has been used to number one attention for a long time. And you know what? I'm trusting him. Yeah, I am. I'm going to say it. I trust him more than any player in this series. I think Trae Young is going to come out. I think the Hawks are going to come out. I think they're taking it in 6. I think McMillan's a better coach than Bud. I just, in general, I just think the Hawks have a chance. I respect the people who pick the Bucks. It's obvious. I get it. Giannis is probably the most dominant, though I trust Trae the most. Giannis is the most dominant player. I don't, like the fact that I don't have Hunter, but maybe I get Reddish back. Reddish has been practicing. Maybe I get Reddish back. I think the Hawks have more firepower, and I can rely on their team more than the Milwaukee Bucks. And I am going with the Hawks. I am done doubting this Hawks team. I'm done. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, well, the Hawks are good enough. No, I'm going to pick them. Because I think they're that good. I think John Collins has proven to me why he's as good as I think he is and why he's as good as Zach Griffith thinks he is. Because John Collins has came in and looked for a massive payday this offseason. John Collins looks like an incredible player.
John Collins is playing in his final series with the Atlanta Hawks.
He's been wicked. No, well, we'll see. I mean, I think they're going a little farther, but we'll see. I do think Bogdanovich being somewhat limited is a little bit of a problem. But I'm not concerned because I've been a huge believer in Herter. Not to mention that I think that they're getting good minutes from their rookie. Kongwu from USC, I think he's giving him really good minutes out there. He's competing. He's not looking like he's scared of the moment necessarily for a rookie. I'm not necessarily mad at what Lou Williams has been giving me. I think his shot creation has been pretty good for them, and he's not been looking like a player that doesn't belong on the floor. I just sit there and I say, did Milwaukee just get massive Giannis games in massive Milton games? And if the same thing happens again, which I think it could, just give me the Hawks because they got more options. That's all. I mean, that's all it is. I'm not saying it's crazy that people can say the Bucks can win. I think but here's the argument I would make though. If you pick the Bucks to win, you better pick the Bucks to win in like 5. Because then I think I think it's a freight train. Then I think the Bucks just roll over them at that point. Then they're just it'd just be a dominant performance. That to me at least. Now I know Zach, you had the Bucks, I think it's 6. See, The thing for me is I think the Bucks, if the Bucks win, they would just steamroll. Like they would just steamroll past guys. While I think the Atlanta's not going to get steamrolled. Philadelphia was up on them by 20, and then all of a sudden they come back and they win the game. Like, I just don't think this team gets steamrolled. And so for that reason alone, I'm just going to go with the underdog here. And, obviously you guys can have your shots at me, whatever. But real quick, I'm curious about what's going to happen with Giannis in this series. Obviously, no Hunter is critical. Am I matching up with Collins? Am I matching up with Capella on Giannis? What are you guys thinking here?
It might have to be Collins. I don't know if Capella can move like that.
Might have to be Tony Snell.
Oh, no.
No, I think it would have to be Collins. We'll definitely see some Capella at some point, but in terms of
we absolutely will.
Consistent one-on-one defender, they don't have it. Here's one thing I would throw out about the Bucks. That is kind of going underrated. They just shed a massive mental block by beating the Nets. Massive.
Okay.
Because they just beat Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
They just saved their coach's ass. I mean, don't tell me they didn't hear all the noise about, here come the Bucks. Great regular season team, can't get it done in the playoffs. Bud, Rick Carlisle, he's emptied out the drawers in Bud's office. And now the script is totally flipped. There's a world, guys. I don't think it's gonna happen, but there is a world where the Bucks win the title, and we're talking about Giannis as the best player in the world. There's a world.
By the end of the year,
it's definitely a possibility. If the Bucks win the title, people are going to be saying Giannis is the best player in the world.
They'll say top 3, but I just can't. If he doesn't have a shot, Zach, I can't.
If he does it in dominant fashion,
I can't
like Kawhi did a couple years ago.
Like I can't do it because he's not giving me enough offense. He's just I need more of an. I need a jump shot, Zach. Come on.
If he averages 32 and wins the title,
I
can't put him over.
Look, I wouldn't say he's the best. But I'm just saying there's going to be people saying he's the best because
there will be people.
This will be their case. He beat Durant. He beat the Nets. He beat Trae Young, who was the story of the playoffs. And he beat, we'll say it was the Suns. We'll say he beat the Suns. That will be the case.
Okay.
I'm just saying there's a world where it happens. I am taking the Bucks in 6, but I do think that mental thing of just finally, I wouldn't call it getting over the hump, but finally rising to the occasion. I don't think it can go overlooked.
Well, and from the Bucks' perspective, Bryce, here's my thing, right? The argument that's going to get sent in about why the Hawks are going to lose, right? You're going to say, well, Drew Holiday, he's one of the best guard defenders in the league. He's really good. He shut down Dame. It's how he got his name, whatever. But like his offense hasn't been there, Bryce.
No, it has not.
And I think that Middleton's offense obviously has been there, but like again, what can I expect from a guy like Drew in this series? Because he hasn't given me evidence that he's been very good offensively.
I think it'll come. I'm not necessarily worried about Drew Holiday. I think he'll bounce back. But I mean, they really did bring him in for his stability that he brings to the offense. They bring him in for his defense, and then obviously to hit shots consistently. And he hasn't been able to hit the shot consistently. But I'll tell you what, down the stretch when it matters the most, Drew Holiday is going to be there. Period. I mean, we've seen it a couple times throughout this playoffs where Drew Holiday hits a big bucket. And that's what you want. I mean, that's what you're really paying for. Obviously, if he was able to produce more offense before the fourth quarter, that would be ideal. But I think he's fine. I really don't have a massive concern about Drew Holiday right now. I think if they lose game 7, yeah, there's probably a lot of talk about it. But he gets the pass right now because they won the series. If they lose this series against the Hawks and he doesn't show up, he's not getting a pass. He's going to get obliterated on Twitter, just like Ben Simmons did. They'll have him joining Ben in Shanghai.
Kuzma.
Now here's the thing for me in this series, and I'm really curious to get your opinions on. So one of my favorite things that you guys know I like to do is I always like to play the game of if you rank the 10 players in the series.
Rank them.
Rank them?
Rank them, guys. Rank 'em.
Here's how I see it. Here's how I see it, though. Can you make an argument that Atlanta has more of them?
Yes. And they probably
I think so.
Like,
probably do.
I'm always very old school with that. Like, if you've got more guys that I like, that helps you. I understand that Giannis's dominance is better than Trey's dominance, but I just trust Trey. There is nothing about that guy that is afraid of the moment. And I just, when I think about the Hawks, this is just a very solid team. They're well balanced. They're going to put the ball in the hole. Now, real quick, the other thing that we wanted to get into here is the Olympic team, and then we'll conclude the podcast. The Olympic team, the USA basketball team, got some big news. They got Kevin Durant, they got James Harden, they got Jason Tatum, they got Bradley Beal, they got Damian Lillard, Draymond Green, and then Bam Adebayo. With possibilities of Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Chris Paul. I mean, this for a season in which many thought that there wouldn't be a lot of NBA stars in the Olympics. Well, clearly there are. And Zach, I want to get your thoughts. Do you think that it's good that players are wanting to play in the Olympics despite the quick off season again? I mean, do you think that's a bad thing, a good thing? What's your thinking here?
Well, it's a great thing. I'm never going to fault a guy for wanting to play in the Olympics because it's the fucking Olympics. So I'm not gonna fault him. Devin Booker, I was a little surprised because
Devin Booker, sure.
I think he's going to be playing in the finals, and then it's a quick turnaround to the Olympics. But so be it. I don't think he cares about the turnaround. He just wants to play in the Olympics. So, me and Bryce were talking today at work. What's the worst NBA team that could win the gold medal?
It's an interesting conversation.
And I'm not trying to downplay international competition.
What do you mean?
Like the Sacramento Kings, for example, would not win the gold medal. The Charlotte Hornets would not win the gold medal.
Okay. So then what, in terms of, so what would be that? So you're saying what?
Like if the U.S. committee was like, we're taking the entire Kings roster and they will be our Team USA. We're not winning the gold medal. It was just a fun game. It was just a fun game.
No, I get it. It's a really good question. I think you probably couldn't pick a team that didn't make the play. You have to pick a playoff team.
Yeah, but then if you pick the Bucks, you don't get Giannis. Team USA doesn't get Giannis.
No.
If you pick the Hawks, Team USA doesn't get Capella or Bogdanovich. It'd have to be the Nets, right?
See, here's my thing. Like, I don't think that, sure, they clearly the maybe, but no, Ayton. I think the tricky part with that is like, I think that shows the international play is significantly different.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say international play sucks. I'm just
no. I'm saying the style of which,
right?
Like the style of which, like, to me, when you look at this roster, it's going to have like a lot of wingy types, like 3-4s, and then you're going to have like a Draymond, a Bam. Probably one more big, but it's going to be like a 4 or 5 type.
Can we get Towns in there?
Towns from the Dominican Republic, actually. So the problem is their bigs. The bigs, they're limited. They're very limited in bigs. Honestly, the best big left for the U.S., Zach, it might be Miles Turner. Like this, like their bigs are not insane. AD's not healthy. Otherwise, you'd pick Anthony. The way that I see it is like
I wouldn't pick him. Soft.
Oh my gosh!
Soft.
Look, the way that I see it,
throw him around like a rag doll.
Whatever. Look, Bryce, what are you thinking of the Olympic team so far and the guys that are committing? Because like James Harden committed, and James Harden has a grade 2 hamstring, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna get ready because I'm gonna play." Like that's. Like, are you not a little concerned? Like, I'm happy because I think it's awesome that guys are trying to get the gold here. But like at the same time, like I don't want to lose my player if I'm the Nets to big time injury.
Sure. No, I mean, the thought process for the players is, I mean, this is an opportunity. I mean, it's a privilege to play for Team USA. Not to mention a lot of these guys, they're probably thinking, you know, I want to be the 1992 Dream Team. I want to be the 2008 team. I want to be the 2012 team. Yeah. I think there's, you know, that plays into it. It's just an honor and a privilege to go out there, represent the country in a positive light and go out and have fun playing basketball. I mean, we've watched international play before. I mean, sometimes it just looks like, you know, one half of an NBA All-Star game. You know, with the USA team out there. It's fun. And you get to play with some of the best players in the world, all on the same team, and you get to do fun stuff. I mean, imagine it's disappointing that Steph isn't playing on Team USA because I'm telling you, I don't think international teams would know what to do with Steph Curry. Like they would know about Steph Curry, but they wouldn't know what to do. I mean, he would just when he starts shooting from half court and making it. You know, what do you do about that? So,
but let's not act like Dame can't do that.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Dame, but I mean, it's very exciting. I mean, USA, we win gold the majority of the time. I mean, I'm not shocked by this, and I expect nothing less than the gold. So,
yeah, I mean, they didn't finish well in the FIBA Cup. They finished but a lot of that had to do with injuries, which I think has a large part to do with why some guys are wanting to play is because they just kind of want revenge. And how I see it is I just don't buy. Let's make this a bigger picture conversation. I think you guys would really appreciate this. So obviously championships are the biggest thing for legacies. We agree?
Yeah,
absolutely.
But a gold medal we can't fully quantify because we're not the individual that wins it. Am I crazy?
No, I think it's about for the Olympics, I think it's about how you win. It's about how, like we've established such a culture of winning gold medals in basketball. It's about how you win. Like, I mean, is anything ever going to measure up to the 1992 team? I don't know. I truly don't know.
Probably not. Probably not, but like I think it means more to the individual than we like to think. There's such a tendency, but there's a tendency to dismiss it though when talking about legacy. And see, that's what I don't like. Like, I'm not saying it has to be this huge thing that has to step in line with championships, but at some point, like,
it's a thing.
It's a big deal.
If you talk
and
about
we don't fully understand it.
If you talk about somebody like Carmelo, his medals are going to get thrown under the rug, and they shouldn't.
They absolutely should.
But for whatever reason, when we're talking about a guy, his legacy or his Hall of Fame case, the medals don't get brought up. Even though with some of these foreign players, like that's why Vlade Divac is in the Hall of Fame because of his international career.
Thank you.
So somebody like Melo, who with his NBA resume would get in easily, but his Olympic resume, I mean, I think if you go by medals, Melo is the best player in U.S. history, in U.S. team history.
It's a really honest. I mean, it's not a crazy take. He's a great Olympic player. He's been very great in Olympics.
If you're just going by medals, I think he has.
Yeah.
What? 08, 12. He has 3 gold medals.
Yeah.
And 1 bronze that we don't acknowledge, but that's just.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's a standard.
It's kind of a disgrace.
It is a disgrace.
It is. And the problem is, we're just so accustomed to a gold medal It should just be like, well, you're supposed to win.
Right. And I mean, I get it because obviously, let's face it, the United States has the best talent in the world, but it's like at the same time, it's an interesting conversation given the overall perception of the Olympics. Like, I think it's really good that players are wanting to play. I'm not shocked by it, but I think a lot of people are. I think it's really good for them. I think moving forward, it'll be fun to see kind of where this goes. The roster will get more filled out. We might bring it up again next week, but we'll see where that goes. But we'll only do a little bit of segments just like we did today. Without further ado, we have plenty of things for you to listen on after you listen to this podcast. We have Zach Griffith's podcast he just released talking about Loki. Zach is back on Circle City Cinema. He's killing the game on that.
Yeah, baby.
He's got plenty of episodes coming. So please go check that out. We have Alex and Dylan talking about, Hawks Sixers Game 7 coming this week. That should be extremely fun. We have Will and Dylan who are supposed to project the podcast this week. Do not be afraid to check that out. It should be very fun to see what they can bring, especially after the vacation that Dylan had and overall what they're able to bring there. Triple Option, we'll call it's on a delay. It's on a delay in this moment. We're not exactly sure when they'll put out an episode, but Devin is continuing to be on Zach stuff. Don't be afraid to connect with that. To connect with that.
On Thursday.
Yeah, he'll be on Thursday. So don't be afraid to continue. They didn't leave. They didn't do anything bad. Okay, they're not in a dungeon. All right, right now they're just in a break here. Dylan, there should be great pods out, great things available. Without further ado, thank you for listening to the LynnSanity podcast.